let's just get into this. So, um, so I just came from a wedding, not mine, clearly. Forever Alone
Yes,
gang.
I would be surprised if it was.
You would at least have a passing invitation. uh, that's actually a weird thought to bring up in a second here. But so starts at 3. Okay, not that bad. It's raining, so like, oh, we're gonna delay 15 minutes. Okay, no problem. They delayed 15 minutes. It stopped raining enough that we could be outside because they wanted to have an outdoor wedding. Okay, it's fine. Their day. The person performing the ceremony was my pastor that I like, just moved from his church a couple months back, and he has a notoriety for having exceptionally long-winded sermons, particularly at weddings and things like that. And he stretched that thing far as he could. So we get in about 4:15, something like that. Been out there for an hour. No problem. We didn't get rained on that bad. We walk in, and they say, okay, well, the wedding party is going to take pictures, and then they'll be in. All right. Well, I mean, how long does it take to take a couple pictures? They'll be coming in around 5:30ish, and then we will eat. We'll be here for an hour and 15 minutes. Okay. This is becoming a much more significant time commitment than I was prepared for today.
Mhm.
And yeah, it certainly was that. Um, so I have an excuse. I don't know if it's a very good one, but I have an excuse because I didn't leave the wedding venue until 7:30, and then I had to, and like I it was past where my parents live, so I drove up there where they are, rode over with them, and then we came here. Well, they left. They stayed there. I came here. So it was an involved process.
Interesting.
Yep.
So, what was the thing we put a pin in?
Oh, um, invitations and things like that. To pretend. What's that verse? Hebrews 11:1. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence for things not seen.
Yes.
So starting from that premise, someday in the future, Lord willing, I or you, some of us, may encounter a young lady of poor decision making qualities, um, which may result, Lord willing, with much grace and mercy, and I'm sure some level of divine intervention, um, which may result in nuptial proceedings for at least one member of the World Tours podcast, um, which was, just throwing this out here, attempted to be named Two Guys One Podcast. I don't know why that just had to get thrown in there, but it did. It seemed
I
pertinent.
don't.
It seemed important at the time. Anyway, so so um so yeah. That being the case, I was sitting there today, and he's I had never met the groom, never encountered him, didn't even hear about him until like 2 weeks ago. When they're like, hey, this person that you taught Sunday school is getting married, and I'm like, really? Um, okay, who are they getting married to? And they told me, I'm like, I've never heard of that guy before in my life. Who is he? And then they told me, I'm like, I still don't know who he is. Screw him. Oh, it's so hard not to make that joke. Oh, Masters, I'm having problems.
You don't say.
Yeah, because I mean, um, if you have a mind like I do, you get the joke and I don't have to say it. It's good. Um, anyway, so yeah, I went there. He's a nice guy. She was probably one of the better students I've ever had in Sunday school, so I felt it was important to be there. Um, and I got to reconnect with a couple other people. I got to reconnect with my musician friend.
So hold up. So you willingly went to a wedding?
Yes, I will
Dude,
not. I will not willingly be in a wedding. That's very key difference. In fact, that was kind of the point where I was going to, is because I'm like, oh, okay, well, who could I? While you're sitting there and waiting on things to happen because it's raining, and you're like, okay, well, what can I do with my time? You're like, well, I should. Since we're in a festive wedding mindset, what would my wedding look like? Because I've never had one before. At least one of us can say that. Wow, am I in a weird
yeah.
mood tonight? Um, uh, anyway, so
I'm not sure I can constitute what I had as a wedding.
I want more details on that in a second. But I was like, okay, well, and I was thinking like, okay, so who do I want in my wedding, and like what sort of capacity do I want them to serve in? I'm like, okay, well, one of my current two pastors would probably be officiating it. Probably the elder pastor, I would have him officiate it, and then I would probably want the younger pastor to be actually part of the wedding party because he and I are really close. I mean, not that the elder pastor and I aren't close, but I'm me, and the elder pastor has a better speaking voice.
Hmm.
Um, so I was like, yeah, okay, so I'll have him there. And I'm like, oh, well, who would I have for the rest of my wedding party? Because one person does not a wedding party make. And I'm like, oh, well, I should definitely get masters in there somehow or another. And I was trying to figure that out. I mean, this is clearly not like an imminent thing that's going to be happening, but potentially someday in the far distant, God blessed and intervened future, perhaps. So I was just thinking about it. I was wondering what your thoughts were on things like that, or if you had any thoughts. I know there was some thoughts a couple months ago that I was going to be coming down and making life awkward, but
Yeah.
I don't know if we ever like really assigned roles or anything. If it was just like, oh yeah, this is the thing that might be happening, and like by might be we were talking about definitely, and then it didn't, and I don't.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Anyways,
Whack. um,
yes, you are.
you
You
betcha.
are in fact a quack. Um, so changing subjects entirely.
Oh,
I started going to the gym this week.
okay.
Um, I did a lot of arm workouts on Tuesday,
Mm-hmm.
which left me incapacitated the rest of the week. Um, and then yesterday I went and walked a little over 2.25 miles in
Nice.
about an hour. So I
Did you-
was going to go this afternoon, but then Mumbles was like, "Hey, anybody want to play Fortnite?" And I was like, "That sounds like a lot more fun."
that is the trick of it. Um, Exercise is not fun, but it's more fun if you have somebody to do it with.
Yeah, I don't have anybody to do it with.
Know that feeling? I'm all by myself.
Um, but yeah, so my arms were dead all week.
I don't have that luxury. I can't have any part of me that's not functional. That.
Your smoke alarm battery's going dead.
It shouldn't be. I just replaced it like a couple months ago.
Hmm.
That's
Should
going
have
to be
bought
it.
better batteries.
If that doesn't. It was a Duracell. I don't.
Should have bought Energizer. Come on now.
I think it was a Duracell. I'm not sure. Wait. If it beeps again, I'm going to find out. Um,
But yeah, so I worked out on Tuesday. I was only there for about 14, 15 minutes.
oh,
Um,
yeah, that's going to be stopping right now.
because
Burn
I
down. I don't
did
care.
some lat pulls,
Yep.
uh trying to work out my biceps and my chest and my back and all that. And then I did some cross pulls. And then I did some. I think they're called pec flex or something like that.
Chest flies.
But sure, I don't know what they're called, but the where the machine is, there your arms are out side by side, or arms are
Extended to both
T
sides, and you bring
yeah
them toward the
extended to
center.
both sides, T pose. Yeah, and you bring them towards the center.
Chest flies.
Yeah.
Actually, chest fly is
Did
going the
that.
other way. Weirdly enough,
Um,
you start
but
forward and you pull back. Or is
so
that?
I did those, and so I woke up um, Wednesday morning and just had pain in my arms, like the
Mm-hmm.
normal after workout pain. And I was like, this sucks. And then I woke up Thursday and couldn't move my arms because they were just so tight. Like I literally couldn't lift my arms up to take my shirt off.
Mm-hmm.
Throughout the day, I slowly was trying to go further and further and further.
Yep.
Um, and then I woke up yesterday and I could kind of lift them, but it still hurt. Like there wasn't as much resistance, but the pain was still there.
Right.
And then I woke up today, and it's very very mild pain. Um, if I go like if I reach all the way up, I can feel like, oh yeah, I used these at some point this week. But it's not like painful today. Um, but
Sure.
yeah, and then yesterday I went and uh, walked for an hour on the treadmill, and I was going to try and do some not bench presses, but the one where you sit down at the machine and you're kind of doing bench presses, but you're in a sitting position.
I've, okay, so full disclosure, I have never used a machine to work out before. I have free weights. I have body weight. I have a lot of
Yeah,
body weight. I don't.
I don't trust myself. I don't trust myself with free weights right now, so especially since I don't have somebody there with me.
Eh.
But I was gonna do that, but then I was like, no, no. So
Is
I
the
just walked for an hour.
is the exercise you're referring to the one that I posted in the
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's a chest fly. I do know what I'm talking
That's the
about
one.
sometimes. Sometimes. I think it's you're miming the action of flapping your arms. But you're sitting down and you're resisting.
I would say flapping your arms would be up and down, not to your front.
Well, if you're flying head first. I mean, so boy, this is going to go down a deep rabbit hole, I can already tell. Um So technically, the motion of bird flight is front to back.
Uh huh. That's what I
So
said.
yeah, boy, we're gonna really mess up people who are in the podcast interaction channel and are like, "What? How do we go from exercises to birds?" Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I just have an image of someone flapping their arms and thinking it's funny. Ish. Ish. So this is your first week and,
Um,
like really attempting to exercise, things like that. Yes?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I've been doing things at home with resistance bands and stuff, but this is my first time in a gym with actual numbers behind my exercise.
Okay.
Because like I was doing, um, like on that machine, I did 70 pounds, and
Yeah.
on the pull down, I was doing 70 pounds, and then I was doing 35 on the cross cable
Mm,
per arm.
I won't tell you how much I'm lifting in class.
Oh
It's
no, the 70 pounds was easy. Like I wasn't struggling at all. I did I'm gonna try and get a picture.
The fun thing about lifting glass is that, I mean, not really the fun thing. The really strenuous part about it is not so much that you are lifting heavy weight, but that it is awkward weight. It's very unbalanced, and so you really are working a lot of irregular muscles to make sure you're not gonna slip and trip and fall and smack a corner on the ground and have the entire thing blow up in your hands, which is totally not a thing that happened on Friday a couple times. Um, yeah.
Uh, Here we go. Do. So I was doing 70 on this, and I did 50 reps.
Okay. Uh,
Just
yeah. I think that's lateral pull down.
yeah, lat pull down.
Yeah.
Yep. And then I did 25 reps on the one that you posted at 70 pounds. What was that?
Was it just a single set, or did you do multiple
Yeah,
sets?
a single set. Yeah,
Okay.
I just did a single set of all these. Um, and then do, 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 um, do. Nope, let's not do that. I don't want to purchase one of these. Okay, so this is kind of the machine I used, except it was a machine that had one side was this, one side was the previous picture,
Uh huh.
and then the other two sides had this. So I didn't have two of them, and it was actually positioned at the bottom, not the top. And I was pulling from bottom left to top right, like I was pulling a ripcord.
Right.
And I did 35 pounds. I did 15 reps with each, no, 20 reps with each arm. And I did 5 on one arm, then switched to the other arm, did 5, then switched back and did 5.
So I'm looking for something that this reminds me of. I, this machine is. Oh, there we go. Well, no, we can find a better picture than that. There we are. Uh, Come on. Where's it? Where's a really good one that gets the full? There's the one that gets the full. Ooh, that one's even better. He looks like he's waiting for Kong to show up and take him. uh,
Yeah.
I mean, ooh, there's the classic one. That's the real. Have you ever seen the? I'm sure you've seen the meme. Show me the real, and then no, I said the real, and then kind of thing. Perfection.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the real King Kong.
Oh my goodness.
Without that King Kong, we would have none of the other ones. Oh, however, I guess Turnabout is fair play because ultimately they did the same thing to King Kong himself. So, you know, why not?
That's a tiny King Kong.
Um, he got bigger as the movie went on. They weren't.
Yeah.
This was back in the days before like continuity and uniformity of scale was a thing.
Hmm.
Also, King Kong is technically one of the smallest monsters, but they did scale him up a lot for Kong Skull Island and then Godzilla vs King Kong. Um,
Yeah.
Now, even Peter Jackson's King Kong from like 2004, whatever, that one was also a lot smaller than the one nowadays.
Yeah,
So,
that's the only one I've ever seen.
uh, I have a lot of affection for that film, although it definitely has a lot of issues. Um, although I have seen the original, and the original is pretty good, despite the fact that King Kong looks like this.
That's racist.
Looks like great. Looks like dear old great granddaddy Sasquatch. uh, we have come a long way in terms of our King
I
Konginess.
swear, if Sasquatch posts right now, Grandpa,
He is
'cause
typing.
he is typing.
I so want to. I'm waiting. This is worth. I'm hoping this is worth waiting for. If you just like thumbs up emoji, I'm gonna very disappointed. Um, like 1930s King Kong looks like the happiest dude ever. Like a complete idiot, but he looks so happy. Um, even when he's chomping on a person, because why wouldn't you look happy when you're chomping on a person? To him, it's like more of an oddity than anything else.
Yeah.
Also, his teeth are a little bit inconsistent from one picture to the next. That's also kind of a thing. Like this one, he's got like very clean, straight teeth. He looks super happy to be there. As opposed to like the first one where it's a little bit crooked. Um, hey, there we go. I was gonna say it almost looks like long lost great grandpappy Bruce.
Called it.
uh,
Oh, I'm not even gonna type anything in there. Just he'll figure it out when he listens to this.
Here we go. Lol.
No, lol.
It says so little and yet so much. Um,
Oh my goodness.
I kind of want to just mess with him at this point and just post random stuff. Where he's like, "What are they
um.
talking about?"
Yeah. Um. Let's see. So, did you get to watch Loki?
Yes,
Both episodes?
yes,
And
I am thoroughly impressed.
yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'm excited to see where it goes.
Like I watch a lot of supporting material and stuff like that to really flesh out my Marvel viewing experience because I just don't know um that much of
Yeah,
them.
I've been. So this is the first time I've actually gone through YouTube and I've watched the "What Did You Miss?"
Mm-hmm. See, that's not what I
Which,
watched. I watched all the ones of people ragging on it, be like, "Oh, it's terrible crap," and I'm like, you know what? I understand exactly the point that you're trying to make. It's good enough. I don't care. Like it
yeah,
is so like at least right now, it is so well acted. Tom Hiddleston is killing it. Owen
yeah.
Wilson is. I haven't seen Owen Wilson this good ever. He is
Hey,
awesome. What?
he was great in all three Cars films.
I have not seen Owen Wilson this good ever. Never see Owen Wilson in the Cars film.
He's great in all three of the Night at the Museums.
That is such a lower caliber of acting. It's not even worth mentioning.
Hey,
I said what I said. I'll stand by it to the death. I mean, I do like his takes on Roy O'Bannon in uh the Shanghai's new Shanghai Nights series with Jackie Chan, but like even that just doesn't hold a candle to how like when he's on screen, he is in control of every situation except for the last little bit. Like when they're this is a little bit spoilery, but in episode 2, when they're inside the when they're inside the
Alabama.
Alabama. Yeah, when they're in Alabama. when they come down there to visit the natural disaster. Um,
So I kind of got a little bit of spoilers on TikTok
uh huh,
about that episode
uh huh,
because I follow a guy who does Southern
yeah,
comedy based on the South,
I
and
figured that out.
he yeah, and it shows that part of the clip,
Mm-hmm.
and then it switches over to him. And he goes, "Well, I just figured out how I'm gonna die."
Oh, what death by
I
a
play with your
hurricane?
gun.
Hey, let me know.
Category 8 hurricane.
Well, they said actually, I think they said Category 10 apocalypse or something like that was what they were saying.
Yes, but it's a Category 8 hurricane.
Okay, I thought we only had up to Category 5.
We do, which suggests that in the future we're going to have storms so bad that we have to up the scale.
Um, okay, that's a theory. Now okay, I'm not gonna get that's jumping down too much of a Marvel rabbit hole. Let's just talk about Owen Wilson's character and how good it is. Like aside from when they're in the Super Center, he's in control of every single scenario,
Yep.
and I love that about it. He's confident, he's cocky, but he's restrained. He's got just the right mix of knowing how far is too far, which is something that I
Yeah.
don't. So I kind of envy that
Yep.
about him, you know. Um,
That is a trait we both share a lot of the times.
you and him, or you and I share the envy of not knowing when to stop.
Yes. Yeah.
The second one?
I'm getting better at it. Yes, the second one.
Oh, I'm not getting any better. I'm getting worse at it actually. Like
That checks out.
I'm getting definitively worse at it. But that's a whole other story. Um, got in so much trouble. Well, I could have gotten in so much trouble, but I didn't, so it's good. Um, but yeah, I am thoroughly enjoying it. It is. It's close as to whether I like this better than The Mandalorian or not. Like this is a really good show so far. I suppose we'll see because I
Yeah.
mean this is still really early, but
Yeah.
and I'll judge something by the sum total of what it brings into play. But so far I'm just loving it, and Tom Hiddleston is doing awesome. Again, he's great. Um, like even that point where he gets the collar off and he's just messing with the
Yeah.
one lady.
Yeah.
It's like I that had a very distinctive Heath Ledger's Joker vibe to it. Like when Joker's walking away from the hospital and it stops blowing up and he just starts freaking out on the detonator. Like
Yeah.
there was so much of that energy in that scene, and I'm like, oh, I love this. This is so great.
Mm-hmm.
And then even the like the emotional punch of where he
Stop
like
Stop
there's even such a great emotional punch when like he looks ahead and sees like his future or the
Yeah.
potential future, um, and then kind of like has to come to grips with all the stuff that means. And I'm like, yeah, this is top notch. And I like
So
yes,
are you ready for a fan theory that I've heard?
okay,
Um, the Loki that dies in Endgame
mm-hmm.
is this Loki.
Is
He
this
goes
Loki?
back. Is this Loki? He goes back at the end of his adventures with the TVA to the point just before Thanos comes on the ship and swaps places with himself because he knows that that version of him is the best version.
That I'd say it's really early to be making that sort of assumption. Like it's really early to be making that kind of assumption.
I'm just saying, it's a current fan theory.
The current fan theory, but I think it's still really early to be like, oh yeah, that's totally what's going to happen. Um,
That's what a theory is.
I know, but I like to have some sort of basis for it, other than, well, wouldn't it be cool if this happened? I want like evidence on screen to be able to build off of. Right now, that's just like, oh, well, he's going to have a change of heart. He
Well, they
at this
they
point
did
has
have a
not
they did
had a
have a
change of
little
heart.
bit of They did have a little bit of evidence on screen.
Okay.
The part where he's looking at his death,
Mm-hmm.
he the framing of the shot looks like the recording is talking directly to him when he says, "You're not a god."
Well, here's the thing. That's the same framing as was used in Endgame. That's
Yeah.
just they just lifted that shot straight from Endgame.
Hmm.
Which I'm not saying that they didn't plan this far ahead, because clearly that's something that they can do. And actually, that wasn't Endgame. That was Infinity War. So,
You mean what I know?
um, but like, I'm not saying that they couldn't plan that far ahead because clearly they did. Like, clearly this was the plan to end up here at some point. I don't know if like how much of this was planned out, particularly in terms of like actors and directors and sets and yada yada. But like, clearly story wise, this was the plan to end up here. Um, but I don't think. Yeah, I feel like that Loki who died there was definitely talking directly to Thanos, and he was really sort of referencing less the power and the ability of Thanos and more the nobility that he had come to recognize in himself and in his brother. That when he says you'll never be a god, um, I think that was much more the intent that he was pushing forward, less of powerful, um, less of a power based declaration and much more of a intent and will and morality kind of thing, which is a big step for Loki to have made, because he's had a checkered past and probably has an even more checkered future to come, which I'm looking forward to quite a bit.
Yeah, I also enjoy watching this show. It's definitely was. I'm looking forward to where it goes, especially after last episode.
Yes. Do you think she's actually Loki?
So I've also heard, well, theoretically, the Time Bureau or the TVA wouldn't get that wrong. Theoretically,
Theoretically.
um,
But she does bear a very striking resemblance to Enchantress.
yeah, that was something somebody had brought up, because actually, in there's a comic book where Loki is the one who creates the Enchantress. Apparently,
Which would also work. Um,
um, but like I'm trying to remember things that I watched in the video yesterday, and it's not working. Um, think brain. Uh, oh, um, she's actually, if you look at the credits, she's not credited as Loki.
she's credited as Variant. I know.
No, she's not.
What is she credited as?
It starts with an S.
Hmm.
Um,
So, because like on IMDb, she's credited as Variant. Hmm. Like her
um,
costume, pretty spot on. So this is classic era, and classic era Enchantress is really just the best. Um, Probably. Some of the more modern ones aren't bad either. But like, there's a lot of overlap between her and Loki in terms of what
well,
they.
there's also Lady Loki, which is a
Yes.
reincarnation of Loki, And Lady Loki's costume has that broken off horn that she has.
Did she have a broken? She didn't have a
Yeah,
broken arm. Oh, yeah, I guess
her
she
left
did.
horn is broken off.
Oh yeah, I guess she did. Um. All right.
Um,
Could be. You see, Enchantress is really cool because she plays a really good foil to Scarlet Witch. Um, and she also does a lot of other things. She serves a very important, or not an important role, but a very useful role in Marvel Comics. And I really, really love that line that Owen Wilson said. I just remembered it in the first episode, that you are someone who exists so that others may become the best versions of themselves. Wow, is that a good line?
um, she is credited as Sylvie. Sylvie.
Okay, like this is something that's clearly going to be explained next week. But I mean, at the meantime, like I want more. I want more. It's rare that I'm like, oh yeah, I want to see the next chapter
Oh,
of this.
yeah. Sylvie Lushton is Enchantress.
Oh ho ho. See, I don't. I don't know these things. Okay. Okay, so that's the other thing. There's multiple different timelines and multiverses within Marvel.
Yep.
So having an having her be in Earth 616, which is kind of the prime continuity, to have her be the Enchantress for that sense. But if they try and change things up so that she is, um, it could be an alternate version of Loki who gets dragged into the prime timeline to become Enchantress, which is a which is one of those moments where it's like, okay, have I gone too far down the rabbit hole? When you listen to that phrase, when you listen to that sentence, she's an
The
alternate
answer is
time.
always yes.
She's an alternate timeline version of Loki who gets dragged into the prime timeline in order to become Enchantress. There's a point where you reach a peak level of nerdiness. And if anyone not in the know were to just hear that on its own, they'd be like, "No, this is not a normal person. He needs to go away." um, I will say this: um, from certain Marvel comics, Jane Foster may be in for some severe competition because, yeah, you're looking for someone to share the throne with. Um, I don't know where I'm going with that.
I don't either, so I stopped listening.
That's fair. Oh, well, suffice it to say, I'm very much looking forward to what's going to happen. And I love the scene in Pompeii.
Yeah.
let's test this out. Okay, whistle,
So,
make bird noises, burn it all down.
so I'm not 100% sure if this is true or not,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm pretty sure that I heard it on Doctor Who.
Okay,
But Pompeii was the first time that a volcano had ever erupted,
that
and
is
so
definitely not true.
they they did not have a word. Well, at least for the people of this region, um,
Okay, so here's the thing.
because they didn't have a word for volcano,
So here's the thing.
which was the first thing that I thought of when Loki said volcano.
Well, that's precisely the point. So I am not a Latin expert, but Latin is the root language for English.
Hmm.
So although you may not be able to understand it if you just hear it in a context, if you listen to Latin in context with subtitles, you can actually start to pick out some of the words and what they mean. And so, in particular, when he's yelling at them in Latin about the volcano erupting, several of the words that he used, like ignis and other things like that, were like ignis is like it's the root word for ignite, for fire, for explosion. Like that's where that comes from. So when he says that, there would have been a clear understanding of people who that was a Roman colony. They would have Roman city. Um, they would have spoken Latin. And Latin has been it's considered a dead language, so it's basically been unchanged for the last 2,000 years. There's a couple of variations and things that have happened, but it's like nobody commonly speaks Latin anymore except for scientific things, because all of the uh, families and
Get to the
phylum
point.
names. Well, what I'm saying is that they definitely did have a word for explosion, volcano, it's blowing up, save yourselves, or you're all about to die. He just sounded like a crazy madman telling them this. And then it didn't matter because they all died anyway. Um so that theory is very easily disproven just by having a base understanding of that our English language comes from Latin, and if you listen to what he says in Latin to the people of Pompeii, he's clearly telling them the big mountain over there is about to blow up and rain fire on your village. And it's also very easily defined. Yeah. Oh, Pompeii was the first time that the volcano ever erupted. Well, has anyone ever heard of the Yellowstone supervolcano? Anyone? Hello?
Yes.
Like,
Yep.
yeah, that blew up a long time before Pompeii, and it blew up a whole lot bigger than Pompeii. Um, like a whole lot bigger than Pompeii. uh, um,
The
there's
story of Pompey's demise becomes even more tragic after historians discovered the Pompey citizens had no knowledge of what the nearby uh, Vesuvius actually was. Having no knowledge of any volcanoes, the city merely thought it was a large mountain. The actual word volcano wasn't invented until 1610.
the actual word volcano. Volcano is an English word.
Yeah. So I'm
So,
saying they didn't have a word for a volcano.
but they would have definitely had to add some sort of context for it. But even okay, yes, there
But
are dormant. There are
let's say you've never heard of a volcano, and somebody runs up to you and starts using your language to describe to you that mountain right there is going to erupt with fire and explosion.
yes.
That you sound like a crazy person.
Well,
And then after it happens, it's like, oh,
I
yeah,
imagine
it did erupt with fire and explosion.
I imagine that on some level, this is why nobody got on the boat.
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%.
It's gonna rain. It's gonna what?
Yeah.
Ah,
Water falling from the sky. Water comes from the ground, you moron, not the air.
idiots.
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh, hmm.
Okay, moving on. Bad
Hmm.
Batch.
So much more to say about Loki. Um. Anyway, so I'll try Bad Batch. Um. What happened to Bad Batch? I just watched this yesterday. Why can't I not think of Bad Batch? I'm still stuck on Loki. Loki. um. Okay. Bad Batch.
Crosshair comes after them.
Crosshair comes after them. He gets fried with an ion engine, which
Absolutely.
was amazing. I
Yeah.
am not quite there, but I am rather quickly coming to be in the camp that there is not going to be a redemption arc for Crosshair.
Yeah, I'm starting to think that as well.
Because as soon as you start scarring permanently your characters, it's not a lot of redemption arc to be done there. Like
Well,
there's a limit. Like
first of
even
all, First of all, it's Star Wars.
I know, but even
So
Anakin Skywalker, his redemption arc ended as soon as it started. Oh, you're hurting my son. I'll stop you. Throws Emperor down ventilation shaft, gets blasted with force lightning, dies.
he didn't die immediately.
Died pretty
He had a
much
few minutes.
immediately. He died before they got
He had
on
a
the
few
escape
minutes.
shuttle.
He had a few
Also,
minutes.
here's another thing. Just thinking this is something that always bothered me. Luke is a Jedi, right?
Uh huh.
Luke
Like my
has
father before me.
right. He has the Force, right?
Uh huh.
What does the Force allow you to do?
Heal.
Uh, well, that's new. We didn't know about that back then. What does the Force allow you to
What are you
do?
talking about? It's new. It's in every single video game.
Much more fundamental than healing.
I have no idea where you're going with this.
Telekinesis, the ability to pick things up and move them with your mind. He had the ability to float his father through the Death Star, and instead he decides to drag him and all of his droid parts through the Death Star. He didn't even like look for like a repulsor sled or anything. He's just like dragging Dad through the hallway. Don't worry, we're gonna make this shuttle. I promise. You in the background, you can hear stormtroopers shooting each other, trying to get space on the next shuttle out of there because it's about to blow up.
I think you're underestimating the amount of strain it takes to do stuff like that, though.
I'm just saying it would have been a whole lot easier to just move him with your mind than have to.
I doubt that. Or else Jedi would just float around all the time.
I mean, there was some who did.
Those are some. Those are not Luke, who was basically trained himself.
Well, Luke is mentioned as being one of the strongest, most powerful Jedi to ever live. Um, the son of Skywalker and all that. I'm just saying, I'd have at least tried it, as opposed to being like, okay, like what a way to spend Father's Day. Just coming up tomorrow. Just be like, okay, like let's grab you by a foot and drag you. Watch the door jam, Dad. Bang! Oh, don't worry about it. And then, like, and how fast did Anakin go down too? Like, he gets blasted by a little bit of force lightning, like a little tiny bit, and he's just like, oh, I can't move, dying. He's got blown up by a volcano. I mean, he didn't get blown up, but he got cut in pieces, got set on fire, didn't die. His son gets fried by a lot more lightning than Anakin got, and then Anakin's just like, oh, little bit dead. No escape, no returning from this. It's too late.
Well, you have to remember he's got a lot of electrical parts inside of him, and lightning and electricity and electrical parts don't really go well together.
I gotcha, but still.
So all of his respirator stuff was that was keeping him alive has now failed, and he died before they could have gotten him into a place where they could have fixed him.
So there's a book called Vader, which I'm assuming is probably not canon anymore.
Oh,
But
it's absolutely not canon anymore.
I mean, it was written after Disney bought Lucasfilm, so it's riding the line. But it talks a lot about his mindset and his um and what he did after becoming Darth Vader. And a big thing that he did was try to find ways to get himself off of the respirator by using the Force. And he was having fairly good success for short periods of time. He probably could have sustained himself long enough. This is like the more you read into it, the more that this becomes like Jack and Rose on the door, thinking as the Titanic sinks. It's like he probably could have made it if you really wanted to. But this is just a neat conclusion to the character arc. Yeah. It's like kind of like Ben Solo. Oh, we're gonna just kill him because we can't really redeem him because he killed too many people. That's basically it's a cheap writing implement to get out of a tough situation.
Yeah, they should have killed off Finn instead. Seeing as how he was useless after the first movie.
They should have. He had an awesome opportunity in episode 8 to have a hero's death and really do something. And they're like, no. I can't even do the line. It's so corny, so cheesy, so bad. It hurts my brain to think about it.
Yeah. I
Oh,
recently watched all the movies again, so yeah, I understand.
it, like it's a movie that gets worse with repeated viewing.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely does.
Like some things you can be like, and then you can kind of go back later and be like, oh no, that's actually pretty good. I like this. This one, every time I watch it, and I think I've seen it like 3 or 4 times at this point, which is like 3 more times than I would have liked to have seen it, knowing what it is. And I'm like, man, this is just garbage. Like this is hot garbage. And
So,
9 is just infinitesimally slightly not as bad.
no, uh, 8 is actually better than 9.
Okay.
Um, if you take out all of the stuff that Finn and Rose did.
Probably fair.
If you just completely like if literally you skip over the parts that are just Finn and Rose, the movie continues and is better for it.
I have heard that there's a fan edit.
Um, Also, the climax at the end
Mm-hmm.
where they realize, oh, they're taking shuttles down, shoot at the shuttles, not the big ship,
Yeah.
would never have happened had Finn and Rose not left on their own. Because they picked up the guy to take onto the ship that told the Empire or the First Order about the other ships.
I kind of disagree with that because I assume at some point, at some level, somewhere on that gigantic ship, there was a single window installed. And just by sheer number of people on the ship at the time, somebody might have looked out that window and said, hey, what are all those shuttles doing flying away from the big vessel? We should shoot
Yeah,
at those.
that's what I'm saying though. That is that one part is the only part of Rose and Finn's side quest that had any impact on any of the rest of it, and it could have been replaced with a guy looking out the window.
I know. Like, what are you doing? Ah.
Yeah, that's my point.
There are
That's my
people.
point.
There are. Okay. So in August, my pastor has confirmed we are doing a crazy message month, and I'm going to do a message called "Join the Dark Side. We have cookies," and I'm planning it out in advance because I have the time. And I'm going to start
Yeah,
with saying like Star Wars is a blah 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 blah. Give some people a little bit of context. Not that everybody in my church doesn't know about Star Wars, but and then I'm going to run through a couple of controversial moments
just
like Luke
make sure you
kissing
give me a heads up so that can be the weekend I come.
like Luke kissing Leia and a couple like and then find out that they're brother and sister and I've always known. Really? You always knew? What about that time in the infirmary where you were halfway down his throat? Did you know then? Because that's kind of really changing the context of your relationship if you did. Um anyway, throwing that out, but like a couple of controversial moments and I'm going to cap it off in my joke sort of session is the most controversial thing of all was directed by Ryan Johnson. Um, spoilers. Um,
Um,
and then
but yeah,
I'm gonna actually get into what I'm talking about. But
I definitely need to be there that weekend.
like they're all
Um,
gonna be good. But uh,
Side note:
yes, sir.
when are you moving?
It's a great question. I need one of the places that I put in an application to get back with me about that. Um, they have not yet. Also,
Okay.
I ostensibly need to stop buying things that would.
Yes, you do.
There's a story behind my latest acquisition. We'll get to that in a second. It's not a very long story. It's not a very good story. It really doesn't explain at all why I have it now, but there is a story. Um,
The story you told me already,
uh, basically, but a couple of
or is there more to it?
there's more to it. There's always more to it. It's me.
That's fair.
Hmm. Um, yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. So Bad Batch. Trying to get back on this. I love Cad Bane. He is so
Oh
good.
yes! As soon as he came on screen, I went, "Yes, Cat Bane!"
He is so
I
good.
was, I was like I was literally sitting there going, "They better not kill off Cad Bane right here. Cad Bane better win, or it better be an epic fight." And you don't have time for an epic fight.
No, no, no. He's so good. Ah, that made me want to go back and rewatch all of Clone Wars just so I could see all. I think he was in season 3, probably.
He started in season one. I want to say.
I don't
I want
remember.
to say he's introduced in season one.
I'll have to rewatch the whole series. Oh, shame. But um oh, he's so good. I forgot how good. And like he just plays it off so cool. It's like, yeah, I'm here. You don't want to do that. All right. Bang. So good. Yes. I'm a huge. He's so cool. Yeah. So what's his face? Crosshair got fried. Cad Bane is
Yep.
back. Um,
The hunter almost died.
Hunter almost died. They did not actually get any of their supplies.
Nope. Nope.
Like this was like aside from like getting the chips out and everything, this was a completely wasted side quest.
Yep. Absolutely.
Um.
Not only was it wasted, they came out on the L side
Oh
by
yeah.
losing what's your face,
Omega. I
Omega.
I forgot. I forget like the exact circumstances of it, but like it's like this. Um. For a while, I was watching a YouTube channel called Mr. Ripper, and basically what they do a bunch of other things now. But when I started watching them, all they did was they had a Reddit, and people would post on there about things that they did in D&D campaigns. And there was this one guy who got on there, and he said, oh, "I'm a DM, and here's what I did." And he took them on this like 3 month long sub quest, which culminated in them finally figuring out like on the last leg of the journey, like at the full culmination, that the entire thing was just a setup to make a terrible pun. And I'm like, this is beautiful. This is glorious. Let me. Oh, highly unlikely that I'm able to find this, but if I can, it's worth um figuring it out. And that's fun. Okay. Let's see. That's not it. Mm-hmm. Is it here?
Yeah. Season one, episode 22.
Okay. I remember
Is
the
when Cat Bane
commercials
is
back in the
introduced.
day, so all right. This is
Story of a girl.
Cry a river and drown the whole world.
Just couldn't let it go, could you?
Nope. Um. Okay, so this is titled "I knew we never should have let our bard DM the next campaign." I bought figurines, maps, custom artwork of all the relics. Now I have all these prints hanging out that I know spell. Uh, okay, this is not the one. Never mind. This is something else. Wasn't ready for that one. Um, yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I can't find it, but not, at least not readily. I mean, it was a great story where they really just 3 months, all that campaign time, and then it's just like just this random pun. So I appreciate that kind of thing. Hey, you know what? This was the Bad Batch's version of the Flight to Canto Bight.
Hmm?
Yeah, they took a useless side quest to a very unprofitable
Oh,
location.
yeah,
They
yeah.
lost
Okay.
everything and came out with a big L. I mean, this is their side quest to Canto Bight. Although, and hey, we even got the cool side character to come out of it because DJ really was the best part of episode 8. At least the best character in episode 8. Um, and then yeah, we have next week to try and finish it out and have them. Uh, I'm still not gonna go for the line. Just oh, can't do it. Can't do it. It's too bad. It's too cheesy. But yeah, Bad Batch was good.
Yeah, still good.
Mm,
Um, so want to talk D&D now?
we can talk D&D.
Um, I've watched a few TikToks this week that have given me some great ideas for this campaign. Um, I'm actually excited about it.
Cool.
I got all my prep done.
Awesome.
I even got some future prep done.
Wow.
Um,
I'm gonna do my best to derail that.
it's not something you can derail. Trust me, I've learned what I can future prep and what I can't. What I have prepped, you will run into at some point. Um, then worked on Monkey's character today. We actually homebrewed a class
Uh
a
huh.
little bit. Um, he is going to be a moon star druid because Circle of the Moon
Mm-hmm.
is the one where you can do cool shapeshifty thingies,
Yep.
and then Circle of the Star is the one where you can do different starry forms
Mm-hmm.
that do cool things.
Yeah. Which is
Uh,
what he was going
and one of
for initially.
yeah, and well, he just picked it because Mumbles was talking about it.
Oh.
But after looking at everything, we decided to combine the two. We took away his ability to shapeshift into elementals
Okay.
that he would get from Circle of the Moon,
Mm-hmm.
and replace it with the improved starry forms.
Nice.
So it's going to be fun for him to play.
Sounds
So
like it.
he's got all the benefits of the higher up wild shapes, and if he needs to, he can shapeshift into starry form.
Is Mumble's character coming along at all? Because I heard he was having difficulty turning
Um,
it.
I asked him about it today, and he didn't really say anything,
Mm-hmm.
so I have no idea.
Okay, that's super helpful. Because last I heard, he wasn't planning on having a lot of offensive spells,
Yeah, that's what he told me too.
which sounds like it's going to go great for us.
Well, he himself is the offense.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, he's a melee fighter.
So he's going to be doing things like buffs and other things like that.
Yeah, that's what he's mainly going to be using his spells for, according to
Okay.
him.
So we are all hit thing with face until thing stops moving type of people.
Pretty much, yeah.
Huh.
Monkey's starry. He has a starry form that gives him improved healing,
Mm-hmm.
and he's taken all the healing spells.
Right.
So you do have some healing in your party now.
Oh, that's
Um,
really unnecessary.
and you are just a fighter.
I have second
What
wind.
subclass did you go?
I don't even know. I think I took the subclass that that lets me take an extra subclass. That's the one I took. Um,
Because I think originally you were going champion, and then
I
I
was
talked
thinking.
you out of that one.
No, I was what I was. I had picked up a feat that let me take some champion uh superiority die things, but it was only going to let me do it once per long rest,
Yeah.
and that is clearly not going to suffice as a level 20 anything. So, I went to something else. Let me see. No, I did go champion.
Oh no, it's uh, Battle
Ah,
Master is what the
yeah, superiority die. So I went champion, and then it allowed me to take a second one, and I picked up defense, which gives
yeah,
me a +1 to AC while I'm wearing armor.
yeah. Which we all know you ain't walking around naked, so
That is correct. And I have proficiency in heavy armor, so at some point we're going to be trying to get some of that too. He's Horton's a stout little fella.
he just doesn't know it yet.
Uh, he's got some pretty good stuff. um,
I imagine that the first few sessions of roleplay are going to be filled with a lot of "Holy crap! Did you guys see that?"
how did I get a skill expert in con? I wanted skill expert in strength. Huh?
Change it.
I don't know how that got messed up because I was like because I was looking at my attack and it's like that should be my my hit should be bigger than this than +12. You know, it's only +12. But like why is this the case? I wasn't sure, and I'm like, now I have expert in con? Doesn't make any sense. Um and that's uh uh hmm. I have no idea why I have that as I don't know.
Yeah, you chose Constitution score as your skill expert feat, so that it bumped it up to 20.
Just out of order. Gotcha. Well no. Oh, that's athletes. Where is the thing? Ability.
Your strength and Constitution are both maxed out.
Yes, but I should have expertise in strength, not con.
You can't have expertise in
Strength,
your ability scores.
but I do.
What do you mean you
It,
do?
it says so on my character sheet.
Where?
Okay, so go to my character sheet, right?
I
Go,
am on your character
go to
sheet.
features and traits.
Okay.
Scroll all the way to the bottom.
Uh huh.
Skill expert. You gain proficiency in a skill. You also gain expertise in a skill which you are already proficient in.
Uh huh.
Intimidation, athletics, constitution score.
Yes. Constitution score is what you was the free ability score upgrade you got.
Oh, okay. So I don't actually have. Okay.
It's, yeah, you're not an expert in Constitution.
I don't know. I was just checking because if I could get it, I wanted it. um. Yeah. I'm uh I'm trying to game the system as much as possible with my track record of character survivability.
Don't worry, your characters will be fine.
We're fighting Tiamat. um,
Eventually.
and we're supposed to be trending down in power level as we go, from what you told me.
Yeah, I'm starting to rethink some of that stuff. So,
Is it just going to maintain 20 until we get out of hell, and then we're going to pump up a little, and then we'll have to rebuild?
um, to be as spoiler free as possible, you will fight Tiamat at level 20.
Okay. He's coming for it. um, I mean, it would make sense. I mean, there's a way narratively to make it work that we'd be scaling down in power, but I don't know if there's a way numbers wise to beat Tiamat without being level 20. So, um,
Um, oh, trust me, it's going to be difficult even at level 20 with just three of you.
I'm quite sure.
Luckily for you, there are ways around just having the three of you fight her. Spoilers.
Well, Horton is down there looking for a wife.
He may find one.
He'll have to try and make that part of the deal.
Listen, pal, I grant requests. I'm not so good with the miracles.
I don't have his voice right now. Otherwise, sure, I'd get into it. But like, I don't have his voice. I need a little bit more prep than that.
I go in and out of Stitch all the time, and Jar Jar Binks is just a more exaggerated Stitch. So
no, he's got his own little thing going on there.
he does, but and I also just did Stitch. I didn't do Jar Jar.
Gotcha.
But yeah. So this is a Stitch, and this is a Jar Jar. Jar Jar has more inflection in the higher tones. This is a Jar Jar Binks. Also, he has his own little speech patterns that he does.
Yeah.
But it's not hard to go from Stitch to Jar Jar.
That's true. It's also not hard to go from Stitch to Gollum. In fact, that's probably even easier.
Probably, yeah. Master wouldn't hurt Smeagol.
Okay, so maybe there's a little, because Smeagol and Gollum do have a little bit more vocal fry. They're not so textureless.
Yeah.
More of a
Master wouldn't hurt us. Master loves us. No, he wants to kill us. I haven't seen Lord of the Rings in a very long time.
hell.
It's one of the series that I love that I don't yet own, but I will one day.
Poor little spider caught in a web. Soon he will be eaten.
You lost it there at the end, but it started out good.
Hey, he well, his number one, I'm not Andy Serkis. Number two, he does break it from the to kind of just being eaten. Right there.
I was talking about where you choked a little bit.
Well, that was because I had weird stuff in my throat. And there's nothing I can do about that except a second take, which I don't think is worth it. Let's see.
Was there anything else you had to talk about?
There is one thing I could talk about. So I made another what?
What would that be?
Another ill-advised purchase.
Another ill-advised purchase?
Well, I didn't talk about this one on the podcast. I didn't even tell you that much about it. So I went to the gun range yesterday, which is usually how all of my bad stories start. And I go in there, and I was gonna go shooting with my pastor, and he injured his back, and he wasn't able to go. So I walked in, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'll just go in here and shoot a little bit. And see if I can pick up some ammunition for my dad for Father's Day and this that. Okay, so I go in there and I'm signing up to get into the range, and they're like, "Oh, would you like to um rent any guns while you're here?" I'm like, nah, probably. Wait, what's that in the case?" And they said, "Oh, well, that's the new Smith and Wesson Shield Plus." Oh, well, I've heard about those. It's one of the new uh Micro 9 series. They're very small, very compact firearms with a higher capacity than normal, which is kind of cool. And I'm like, oh well, I've heard about those, and I've heard that one's actually got like the best trigger in it out of any of them. Yeah, you know what? Throw that on. Throw that on. I'll shoot. I have a couple rounds of 9mm on me. I'll shoot that. So I get in there and I shoot it, and I'm like, that's not bad. It's a little snappy because it's such a tiny gun. Take a couple more shots. That's now those are going right on target. Look at that. Surprising. There's a tiny little barrel on there. Okay. You get a couple more shots down range, and I push it back, and it's about not like super far, but like 15 yards back, and I'm shooting like a 5-inch group with this tiny little 9mm, and I'm like, that is very atypical. That's. I mean, I'm not saying that's great, but for me, that's pretty good. I'm like, well, that's very interesting, and so I put it back, finished my box of 9mm, and started shooting my 22s because I was testing one that I gotten back from the repair shop, and it's working wonderfully now. I'm very happy about that. And then I just started shooting my revolver because it's fun. I almost got thrown out because the 22 got back to the repair shop. I was rapid firing. Apparently, you're not allowed to do that there, and I was not aware that you were not allowed to do that there, and I was definitely exceeding their preferred rate of fire by a lot. Because I was trying to make it fail. Like I was trying to make it not work. And the only issue that I had was ammunition issues because I'm using cheap ammo. For the record, Federal does not make a good 22 at all. It cycles pretty good through my revolver because my revolver hits it like a sledgehammer. But your standard semi-automatic 22s are probably not going to have the punch to activate the primer all the time. Out of 96 shots, I had 7 failures to fire. Then I threw those same 7 rounds in my revolver, and all of them went off without a hitch. So, know your weapon, know your ammo. But Federal does make really, really hard primers. Anyway, so I get back out, and I'm they're 3 minutes from closing, and I'm handing the gun back, and I'm like, oh yeah, it was really fun. Like, oh yeah, well, is something that you'd ever consider buying? I'm like, yeah, maybe. I've kind of in the market for maybe a smaller carry gun, but today is probably not the day. Oh well, did you know that they have the Performance Center model? I'm like, I've heard about those. The Performance Center Smith and Wesson's, like bells and whistles line. Better triggers, better sights, all kinds of stuff. I'm like, yeah, but like those are really hard to find. And they said, well, we have one. Oh, really? Really? Yeah, would you like to take a look at it? Well, I really probably shouldn't, but since you have one, they walk me over and they show it to me, and they're like, here it is. And it's got these beautiful fiber optic sights, very tiny, very compact. And so the thing about concealing firearms, the hard part to conceal is the height. So from the base of the magazine to the top of the slide, that whatever that dimension is, that is the hardest thing to conceal. Barrel length is super easy to conceal because you're typically sticking it down your pants, and anything that's in your pants that's roughly that shape in certain positions, people assume it's something else. I'll let your mind fill in with the blanks there. Anyway, so I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, well that's so the one I ended up getting is in fact the Performance Center model, which is more expensive, but it has the longer slide. It has the better upgraded sights, and the regular Shield Plus that I was shooting and that I rented for the range has it has the best striker fired trigger I've ever fired, which I mean, I haven't fired that many striker fired things, but like it's a really good trigger. And then they're like, well, here, try this performance center model with a better trigger. And I'm like, there's a better trigger in this one? And yes, there is. It is so short and crisp of a trigger. I cannot even begin to properly describe it. It is like cheating. And then the break on it is just, oh, it's it's just on the barely acceptable side of being heavy enough to carry. If it was any lighter, I would not feel comfortable carrying it in any capacity because I'd be too afraid I was going to shoot myself.
Yeah, so that small gun that my dad let me borrow until I got mine,
Uh-huh.
um, like I, the entire time I had it in my pocket, I was like, "This is gonna fire. I'm going to lose a leg."
So here's the thing you need to do. And with a revolver, you can get away with it because they have a much heavier double action trigger. Or if they're single action, you have to cock it before you fire and all kinds of stuff like that. But for semi-automatics, every single one of them, if you're carrying it, should be in a holster that covers the trigger guard entirely.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, then you're good. But the trick
Yeah,
with that is like
but
if you're
the thing with
reholstering.
this gun is it has a thing, a little stopper on the back of the gun to
Oh,
let you know that it has a bullet in the chamber.
oh, loaded chamber indicator.
And
Yep,
yeah, and that was kind of freaking me out. My brain was telling me that if I hit that the right way, it was going to fire the gun.
that does not happen.
Yeah, I know that because I tried it after I emptied the gun out.
Hmm. Yeah. Now there was a company, and they fixed it, so I will avoid saying their name because they did fix it. But they were having a problem where their drop safety wasn't working, and if you
Taurus?
and what?
Taurus?
Nope. Well, okay, Taurus did have that problem years ago, but they've moved on from that now. Taurus is actually making some really good, really dependable firearms at this point, and at very budget prices. Like they just came out with a new a new Taurus entry into the Micro 9 market, which is what my new M&P Shield Plus Performance Center model is. It's in the Micro 9 market. Um, but Torx just came out with one. I think it's called the CX4. I think it could be it. It has all. It's less than 4 inches tall. It's 4 inches tall or less. It is got that weird double to single stack magazine that allows you to hold more rounds. So your standard capacity is like 10 plus 1, and then you can get a slightly extended one that's like 13 plus 1. And so it's like it has all the bells and whistles of your typical stuff. But it's just $300 cheaper than the one that I got. But it doesn't have the fancy sights or the absolutely unbelievably crisp and amazing trigger, which is just that's worth $150 to me off the bat. I have become such a trigger snob, it's not even funny. And I keep buying guns with better and better triggers, and it's getting to be a real problem. Anyway, but where was I going with this? Oh yeah,
I have no idea.
So there was a company that's having drop safety issues. And if you did smack the back of the gun in with sufficient force or in just the right way, it would release the striker and fire a round. But as that company had a military contract and the military was like, "Yeah, you can't do that," they fixed that rather quickly, and now all their guns are top of the line, fantastic stuff. So I just don't have one yet. Guns, man. It's a problem. I asked my pastor if I could blame him for my poor financial decisions because he told me yesterday when he told me he couldn't come to the range that I should take advantage of being young and single. I'm like, well, I'm one of those things. And he said, well, you should still take advantage of it before you have a wife because then as soon as that happens, the whole dynamic of buying toys changes. And I'm like, you're right. And then I went to the gun range, and then I bought a gun, and I'm blaming him. That's the moral of the story. Oh. Mm. So and the thing is, like, so it is definitely a carry gun, and I carried it today at the wedding, and it just disappears. It's so small. It's so tiny. It's amazing. I'm very happy with my purchase. Like some people, they buy something and then they immediately struck with buyer's remorse. That very, very, very rarely happens to me. I can't remember the last time I bought something and was like, oh man, I wish I had bought something else, or I wish I hadn't bought that. Um, yeah, I can't remember the last time I did anything like that because um, I do a lot of pre-checking, pre-searching, research, all kinds of stuff um, about large ticket items that I'm going to buy before I buy them, so that I don't have buyer's remorse. Process. Put the work in on the front end, it pays off in the long run. And then you end up with really cool little toys like this, which makes me very happy
Okay.
again.
So moving on,
Yes.
I sent you a TikTok this week. Did you actually watch it?
I watched all the TikToks you sent me this week. Do I remember them?
Did I send you more than one?
Oh, you were talking about everyone is a Muppet and a Marvel
X-Men
character and an X-Men character. Okay.
Yeah.
You sent me one on the 14th, but I don't remember what that one was.
Sent you one on the 15th and on the 14th. Oh, the 15th is the.
Oh yeah, the arm blade thing. Yeah. Okay. I didn't do anything with the I did not figure out which Muppet I am. I did not figure out which X-Men character I am because I figured I could do that live on the podcast.
Yeah,
I thought
same.
Yep. What Muppet are you? Okay.
Oh, you're gonna find a quiz or something?
Yeah.
Why not just do it yourself?
Because I don't feel qualified. Not Buzzme.
I'm gonna say you're Sweetums for the Muppet.
You think I'm Sweetums? I could see Sweetums.
Or Animal, but instead of drums, it's guns.
I don't think I'm Animal. Animal is too outgoing and too hyper. I'm a lot more laid back than that. Like a lot more laid back than that.
Okay, Sweetums it is then.
Mm.
As for your X-Men, that one's a little bit more difficult. Technically, Deadpool is X-Men.
Technically, but I'm not Deadpool.
You're not a merc with a mouth?
Not his mouth. Nope. I've seen
the
some of the
thing
places.
is-
I've seen some of the places
thing
that
is,
thing's been
you're a-
and where and what he's put in it. Nope.
The thing is, though, you're a cross between him and Sweetums. So,
Eh.
so you have his affinity for guns and smart aleck comments and regenerative abilities, but you are big and hairy like Sweetums with a more toned down, reserved personality.
So I just want confirmation on this Muppet thing first, because we can say whatever we want, but we should do this thing right. Do it proper. Right.
Proper.
Yeah. So it says where would your dream home be located? There's a couple of options here. I don't really.
You're going to post this quiz?
Yeah, I can post a quiz. Here we are. First question: where would your dream home be located? Are you going to bring it up and take it with me, Masters?
Yes. I also found one for X-Men.
Okay, then you can post that one, and we'll take that one next. All right.
Okay, where would your dream home be located?
America, Sweden, outer space, Hollywood, a swamp, a tour bus, the Catskills, or an Eastern European swamp? Swamp comes up twice. I'm going to say the Catskills because I like mountains.
Oh, is that what the Catskills are? I was going to ask.
Yep. All right. Brings up the question.
So I'm going to pick that as well.
What's your favorite color? Orange is not on here.
Orange is not on here. But brown is, and brown is just a dark orange.
I prefer purple over brown. Chocolate or vanilla. Both. Depends on my mood. Whichever is more American. Chocolate, vanilla, bittersweet chocolate, French vanilla, or strawberry.
Would bittersweet chocolate be dark chocolate?
Yes, it would.
Then I'm going with bittersweet chocolate.
Am I? If you could only watch one Muppet movie for the rest of your life, which would it be? The Muppet movie.
Oh, that's an easy one.
Which is?
It's not on here.
Uh-oh.
What?
So the ones they have are the Muppet movie, Muppets Take Manhattan, the Great Muppet Caper, original The Muppet Show episodes. Oh, that's a tough one. That's a lot of Muppet content right there. Muppets from Space, The Muppets from, 2010, something like that?
Something like that.
Muppet Christmas Carol, or Muppets Most Wanted.
Muppets Treasure Island. Come on.
Shh.
But of these 8, I'm going to go with the Great Muppet Caper.
I will go with Muppet Christmas Carol because that is in my opinion, that is the best interpretation of. Okay, maybe the George C. Scott version is better, but like not by much. It's pretty even. Of a Christmas Carol. What's your dream job? Comedian, rock star, famous chef, world's most beloved frog, daredevil stuntman, Hollywood actress, president of the USA, or #1 criminal. Well,
if I could become the president, absolutely, I would be the president of the USA.
of the available options, I'm going to go comedian because I think I'd like to do I'd like to do voice acting, things like that. No success in it, but I'd like to do it. And that seems like the most parallel with that. Which animal would make the best sidekick? Rat? Drums! Spacebar, spacebar, spacebar. A human. Anything that's willing to applaud. Frog. A head of lettuce. The Constitution. You don't need a sidekick.
I don't need a sidekick.
I don't need a sidekick either. Someone has just introduced themselves to you. You reply, "Hi ho! You're right. It is nice to meet moi. Am I wearing a sign that says, bothered me? Hello. Allow me to introduce my girlfriend, this chicken. Knock knock. Bork, bork, bork. Or show me your passport."
Am I always wearing a sign that says "bother me"? I'm going to end up being Scooter.
No, you're on pace to be Sam Eagle. I mean, I want to say bork, 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 but I know what that bias is my answer to. Like legitimately, I would probably just say hello.
Yeah, I always say hello, but my eyes and facial expressions are saying, "Why are you bothering me?"
Well, see, I'm in full-time ministry, so I have to be a little bit more enthusiastic than that. So I'm actually going to go hi ho. And then off to work we go. Describe your personal style. Minimal. Drumsticks! Patriotic. Weird. Perfect. Bow-tied. Professional. Evil.
Minimal.
I'm somewhere in between bow-tied, professional, and evil. So probably professional. Probably. Pick a number. 1. 1 million. Ampersand. Or whatever that is.
It's an ampersand.
Yeah, there we go. I keep forgetting if that's the ampersand or if it's the at sign. It's the ampersand. 789, 1/2, 7, 1776, or 11.
Do you know why 1776?
Sam Eagle.
I'm going to go with ampersand because anytime I have an opportunity to buck the system, I'm going to. Like, what is your favorite letter? 7.
780.
Not a letter.
So I have this weird thing where I'm obsessed with the number 37, or really any number that ends with 7, and that's a really random thing. And 789 is the most random thing on here, so that's what I'm going to go with. How would your friends describe you? Hilarious, dramatic, loud, down to earth, whatever. What friends? Foreign or law-abiding?
So I'm going to answer this one for you, and you answer for me.
Okay.
I'm going to answer loud.
Loud?
Yes.
I would describe you as what friends?
Thank you.
Okay.
You're Constantine.
I'm Waka
You're
Waka.
kind of evil. Sorry about that.
I'm Fozzie Bear. Telling jokes and making people laugh is your favorite thing. If only you could do both at the same time. Okay. I can deal with Fozzie. I do think
This is actually perfect. I am imitation evil Kermit the Frog.
Oh. Post my results with the description here.
Waka waka.
Right. That's
And on to the X-Men.
X-Men.
Best adaptation.
It is. In your opinion, what is the best thing about being part of the X-Men? Having great mentors, spending time with people I love, helping to make the world a better place, getting to have cool toys and powers.
Yeah. Getting to have cool tools and powers.
Yeah, because the whole mentors thing, like, you have to understand, these are a lot of fundamentally broken people. I don't think they're going to do that great a job at mentoring. Like, remember X2, where Logan is trying to play teacher, and he's basically just trying not to stab children all day long?
Yep.
Mixed results on that one. When it comes to making new friends, what's the most important quality? Good sense of humor, intelligence, loyalty, or great conversation?
When it comes to making new friends, what's the most important quality? Intelligence.
I would say great conversation. I would go with,
if you have intelligence, you can have great conversation.
but you can't necessarily have. It doesn't necessarily lead directly there. There are some people who are very intelligent but cannot have a conversation with you. I've met these people.
That's true. That's true.
So,
But if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
True. But having the ability to properly articulate one's thoughts can be, at least, a indication of some level of intelligence, despite what Qui-Gon said, that the ability to speak does not denote intelligence. Case in point. Mr. Jar Jar. And I'm also focusing in on the phrasing here, making new friends. If you're just saying making friends, that would be like sort of have the potential connotation of long term. But if you're just trying to get to know somebody, they're going to be a new friend, the best way to do that is to have a good conversation. Right. That's my opinion on it. You've just finished conquering the latest threat to humanity. How do you unwind? Read a good book? Hit the gym? Meet up with friends at a local dive bar? Volunteer at a favorite charity or nonprofit?
None of the above?
I probably could qualify my church as volunteering at a favorite charity or nonprofit, so I'll go with that one.
I'm going to qualify reading a good book as watching TikTok.
Sounds like a plan. How do you feel about having superpowers? It's a mixed bag. I wish I could just be normal. I like being able to use my powers to help others. Where's the option to I plan to use these to someday take over the world?
Yeah, for real.
I
Let's go
mean-
with a mixed bag. Just so it's a mixed bag. That's part of the mix. It's taking over the world.
I mean, technically, if you think about it, if I was in charge, I believe I would run the world better, so I would be helping others.
Hey, exactly. I mean, that's why I want to be president.
If you weren't part of the X-Men, you'd probably work as a teacher, professional athlete, artist, entertainer, or politician. Well, this begs the question, what's my power? Assuming I still have them.
I'm going to say that your power is based off of Fozzie Bear.
My power is based off of Fuzzy Bear.
Yes.
Entertainer it is.
My power is based off of Constantine, so it's probably some sort of
You're a politician.
master of disguise. Yeah,
You're a politician.
I'd already had that selected.
Everyone meets their end eventually. How do you want to leave this world? In a blaze of glory, surrounded by the ones I love, peacefully in my sleep, or on my own terms.
Peacefully in my sleep.
I have this perception. Not that I necessarily want. I mean, like, it's kind of those weird things. Like, you don't want to, but you kind of like, if I have to. Like, the blaze of glory thing really appeals to me for some reason. I just get this feeling at some point, like, that's going to be the thing that takes me out. Something's going to go horrifically wrong. And whether I survive the judgment of history or not, it feels like that's just going to be the way that it goes.
Very eloquent answer. My answer is peacefully in my sleep, because anything that involves sleep is going to be my answer.
Sleep. You have plans to meet a friend for dinner, but they don't show up. How do you respond? Vow to never speak to that person again. Call them repeatedly. See if anyone else is free for dinner. Get something to go and head home, or romance a cute stranger.
Get something to go and go head home.
Mm-hmm. So I did have this happen once. It was a blind date, and I basically just called them, but at the same time, it wasn't entirely in a vacuum, because I would have probably not even bought anything. I would have just gone home because I'm cheap. And I would have just been like, hey, sorry for taking up your table. They're not coming. I'm just going to go home now, kind of thing. But they were my ride home from the restaurant. I got dropped off there. This was a long time ago.
Yeah, I've heard this story.
Yeah. And like, they were my ride. It's like, yeah. So I just called them repeatedly, but I would probably just go home at this point.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, I just go home. Pick your poison: whiskey, wine, beer, vodka, or bottled water.
Well, seeing as how bottled water is not poison, I'm going to go with whiskey.
Oh. I was saying I'm a teetotaler, so I was going to go with bottled water.
You're a what?
It's an old term. It's teetotalers, people who don't drink.
Oh.
Yeah. Fancy term.
We call them straight edge.
North and south. Never in a million years would you, option 1, become a vegetarian. Yep. I'm just gonna put that is the right answer.
Yeah. I mean, the others are betray my loved ones. Depends on what they do. Give up my powers.
Or stop trying to
Till
save the
death do
world.
us part. Stop trying to save the world. Who was trying to save it in the first place?
Exactly. I will never become a vegetarian. Screw those
Never
people.
become a vegetarian. Final answer. Don't at me.
Oh, and hey, we get another one of these. Friends who describe you as fierce, nurturing, athletic, funny, compassionate, or reserved. We should probably answer for each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
This is a 3-way tie for me. Because of Fozzie Bear, I'm going to eliminate funny. So that brings it down to fierce and compassionate.
Wow. You're going to eliminate funny because of Fozzie Bear.
Yeah. So you've already got funny in you. So
I mean, that would tend to say that that is the more accurate answer, in my opinion, but okay.
yeah, but you're also fierce in your beliefs and compassionate towards others for some inexplicable reason.
How on earth am
Um,
I compassionate toward others? I've had people come up to me with like a. Okay, did I ever tell you the story about the kid at camp who slid into third base?
giggity.
No. Like they were playing kickball and he was wearing just like track pants or something and he decided to slide into third base. He scraped all the skin off of his right hip. And he comes to me because I was his counselor. And I'm like, well, I don't know what to do about this. So I took him over to the camp nurse, and she's like, takes him in the back and has him pull his pants down so she can see what he's looking at, and it's rubbed raw, like right down to like the hypodermis, and she started to spray hydrogen peroxide on him, and he started to scream in pain. And between sprays, I was punctuating it with commentary. Hit him again! Give him another one for me! And I was laughing hysterically as he screamed in pain as hydrogen peroxide was eating into his freshly opened wound. And I took great joy and relish in taking him back to the nurse twice a day for the rest of the week to get more hydrogen peroxide sprayed into his open wound, which would then cause him to scream in pain. It was a great week. Compassionate is probably not me.
Yeah, so just because you are not this world's version of compassionate does not mean you are not compassionate. Uncompassionate people don't spend their free time volunteering at their church
Uh,
and doing ministry.
I will remove myself from the conversation and just say what did my friends describe me as?
I'll go with fierce.
Okay. Okay, I guess since there's a semi synonym here, I would definitely not be nurturing. I might have a little bit of compassion in me somewhere, but I'm not nurturing.
Correct.
Uh,
Nurturing wasn't even a thought.
Yeah.
Nor was athletic or reserved.
I'm becoming a lot more athletic.
Me too, technically, maybe.
Well,
eventually.
lifting glass, man, lifting glass.
Mm-hmm.
So right now I've got you. Really, the only thing that really comes across from you is reserved, man. Like,
Good answer.
yeah, like I was trying to make funny work, and I was like, no, he's not really funny.
Mm-hmm.
He does some funny stuff, but it's not like that's not his defining character.
Mm-mm.
You don't really care about anything, so fierce doesn't match. Athletic, no. Nurturing, no. Compassionate, no. Reserved is what we got left. So,
Yep.
all right, submit. Click to get your result.
Are you serious right now?
Take your short survey to see your result. What's the survey? This is ridiculous. Here we go. Oh, there's another little thing here. It says no brands come to mind. Click continue.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my word. Is this even worth the effort?
I don't know anymore.
I'm gonna start making stuff up.
I'm just randomly clicking at this point. Yeah.
Farming, fishing, and forestry.
Oh my goodness! The survey that never
The
ends.
survey's longer than the test.
Okay, it's over. It's finally over. Oh my goodness! I'm Colossus. Quiet and reserved. You aren't one that to rest on your good looks. You've got an artistic streak and are most comfortable spending time alone painting, drawing, or doing other creative projects?
Uh, okay. I did not get Colossus. You are Wolverine. All brawn and no brains. No, no. Question. All brawn and no brains? No way! Your mind is as fierce as your external appearance, but so is your temper. Your reserved nature and distrust for authority make you a wild card, but you're a big softy underneath it all. There we go. So, I'm a mix between Wolverine and Fozzie Bear.
By these quizzes, yes.
Okay.
I disagree with both of those.
Who would you have pegged me as for for X-Men?
I told you.
You did?
Yeah, Deadpool.
Oh,
Wolverine's actually technically a close second. So Wolverine is not
not
that
bad.
far off. Yeah.
Let's see. Like, I would really pick you to be Sam Eagle for the Muppets. Like, you just have
Why?
a very what?
Why?
Because it's not the America thing that really portrays that, but like when you get on something, you just get stuck on it. And that's basically where Sam Eagle lives. He's just stuck on America. Right?
Define I get stuck on it. What do I get stuck on?
D&D last year. In like 3 months you spent like a lot of money. I don't even know how much money on D&D resources.
So much money.
A lot of money. Like very quickly. Like you kind of there's a little bit of correlation, not necessarily with the subject matter, but with the kind of the semi-obsessive personality thing going on. There's some overlap there.
Okay, I'll accept that.
And for X-Men, Colossus is actually pretty good. I think Colossus is not bad.
Hopefully one day I'll look like Colossus.
You might need to grow 2 feet.
I'll be a Sam Eagle sized Colossus. Oh, could you imagine Colossus Eagle?
I really don't want to. Yeah, I just don't want to think about that. But yeah, I could see Colossus. Colossus. If there was like a properly bearded X-Men, but there's not. Are there any like really bearded superheroes aside from Doctor Strange?
I mean, Beast. Technically.
I mean, I could make a good Beast because I got the fur to start off with. Ten best superheroes that have beards.
I've always liked
Don't do again.
Maestro Hulk.
Fine.
Basically, what we have in the MCU right now, but he has a beard and he's older and stuff.
I guess Iron Man.
That's what.
Oh, Wolverine works so well because I have mutton chops right now. It just occurs to me, I have the sideburns.
Yeah, like this is one of my favorite versions of Hulk.
Yeah. Oh, and yeah, that looks like you, except for the muscles and being in shape.
I'm working on.
I mean, in fairness, I'm working on this too, but I'm clearly not there yet.
Why are you blue?
I think it's just the lighting. He's in he's backlit and is technically in shadow. And they don't
Um,
they have a good way of showing that other than making him blue.
did you know that there is a comic book out there where the Hulk can actually wield Mjolnir?
I think I've heard of this, but I don't know what it's called.
It's the Ultimate Universe. But um, the reasoning behind it is that Mjolnir is just really heavy.
Mm-hmm.
There is no magic involved with it not being able to pick it up because you're not worthy.
Okay.
It's just super heavy. And so he just brute forces it.
But then how does anyone else pick it up?
Nobody else is strong enough except Thor.
So they're saying that Thor is strong enough to do, just naturally, natively strong enough.
Yeah.
Which means, in fact, that he would be correct in Thor Ragnarok that he is the strongest Avenger.
Well, except for Hulk, because Hulk can also do it.
Well, Hulk did it. No, I guess he didn't try because I was thinking in um, Avengers.
Yeah, Hulk hasn't tried to pick it up
Yeah,
yet.
I don't even think Bruce Banner did. I think he backed out of
No,
that one.
Bruce Banner did, didn't he?
No, I think he stopped. I think he like backed out of it. Could be wrong. There we go. That's what we want. Oh yeah, I should totally grow the sideburns in some more. Like this could be me in a couple months. Except I'm not as good looking as Hugh Jackman. Not even kid ourselves about that. But I could grow that facial hair. That's well within my range. Are you processing that, or are you just
No, sorry, I'm
distracted watching
looking at the
TikToks?
clip.
Oh, at the clip. Oh, oh, okay. Trying to figure out if Bruce actually tried to pick it up.
Yeah. The Iron or first Clint tries to pick it up, and then Tony tries to pick it up. Then he tries to pick it up with his gauntlet.
Yep. And then him and
Then
Rhodey try
him
together.
and him and Rhodey try to pick it up. Oh yeah, Bruce Banner does try.
Okay.
He like gets up on top of it, he's going, ah, and then he rears back like he's about to turn into the Hulk, and then he's like, no, I'm good.
So there's an argument to be made there that he didn't really try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Steve Rogers walks over, and as soon as he grabs it, you can see it tilt a little bit.
Uh-huh.
And Thor's like,
Ooh.
and then he doesn't pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
Not that he can't, he just doesn't. Because he doesn't want Steve Rogers is too good of a guy to shame Thor like that in front of everybody.
So while we're on the topic of mixing, I mean not really mixing, but of both at the same time, the MCU and X-Men. Who do you want to play Wolverine in X-Men in the MCU?
Damn it, Gabby.
Hmm?
Stop asking questions like that.
Because I have He's technically, I mean, not anymore. They've officially retconned him out, which makes him technically available. I would like him to see him come back as um the Punisher, but I think John Bernthal great as the new Wolverine. And of course, someone did an artist mock-up of it, and I'm like, yeah, I would believe 100% that he is Wolverine. Except they'd have to clean up his face a little bit because he wouldn't have any scars or nothing because he's Wolverine.
Yeah, no, I don't like that.
You don't like that?
No.
How do you not like?
Why? Why? I hate this list already.
Please link.
This is just actors in their 20s. I was just looking it up. Number 1 has Jake Paul. Jake Paul is not an actor.
He's not an actor.
He's a moron.
Nick Jonas is barely an actor. Tom Holland's already in the MCU. Timothy Chalamet, nobody cares. Ezra Miller, he's a DC guy.
What kind of list is this?
Jaden Smith, who's smoking? Dylan O'Brien, don't care. Freddie Highmore, no.
Dylan O'Brien, no, he would have to get really jacked.
Like, no. Okay. Wolverine should be older. He should not be in his 20s.
Because I would think that he would have reached his prime, which would be 25, and then just stay like that the rest of his life.
Taylor Lautner, maybe. And I don't think he's a good enough actor to pull it off.
No.
No. I just thought of someone. What's his name?
I mean, Tyler Posey, maybe.
Scott Eastwood.
He's kind of already done it when he was in Teen Wolf.
Scott Eastwood. You know what? Never mind. Take it back. He's too clean. Nope.
Yeah, he's too perfect.
He's too pretty. No, not him. Not him. Oh, I don't believe that any of these people are actually like RJ Mitt, I don't know how you pronounce that.
Yeah, I had that thought too.
He wouldn't be terrible.
On him when I paused on him. But like I don't know anything he's in. So I just kept scrolling. Just for the sheer fact of I want to see him buffed out. Jacob Batalon.
Yeah, but no, he's Ned.
I know who he is.
But yeah,
oh right, he's already in the MCU.
Yeah, he's already in the MCU.
Yeah, fair.
Oh! I just had a great idea. Terrible idea. What's the kid's name? Jerry Maguire. All right. What is this kid's name? Jonathan Lipnicki. So Jonathan Lipnicki is like the world's cutest kid from the 80s and 90s. And he really grew out of that.
That's mean.
No, like he's not a bad looking guy, but he got into like MMA and stuff. And he's a shredded beast.
This picture looks photoshopped.
And he's pretty short, which would be more appropriate for Wolverine. Hugh Jackman was perfect, except for the fact that he was like a foot too tall.
Yeah, he's 5'7".
Yeah. Like that possible? He's a little bit on the pretty boy side, but like not terribly so. Um, a lot of these other guys need to seriously consider taking some low testosterone treatments or something. They ain't gonna make it. They just aren't gonna cut it. Um, wow, like really, some of these people. How are some of these people making it as actors and like no one would give me a second look? Other masters?
Nope, I accidentally muted. Uh, this guy might be too ugly. Uh, Atticus Schaefer,
Yeah, I need a picture.
purely for his height alone, he's 4'8".
Oh my. Post the picture. And stop muting yourself. That is not a viewable picture.
Nope, it is not. Cancel. Delete. Why is this?
Hmm.
Okay. Try this picture. There we go. That's better.
I wouldn't say he's ugly, but he looks like way too young.
Yeah, he's 23.
He looks like he's 13 if he's lucky.
Yeah, that's why he's the little kid in uh uh, uh the middle.
Oh, Malcolm in the Middle?
No, just the middle.
Oh. How about this guy? Rudy Pankow. A little rougher on the edges. Yeah, I don't like any of these people.
Yeah, I don't either.
Like I said, we need to scale up a decade.
Like I told you from the start, I hated the list.
All right, actors in their 30s.
Okay, this one starts with a woman, but okay. I don't care what their pronouns are.
Oh, if only Tom Hardy wasn't technically in the MCU. um,
Too bad Wyatt Russell's in the MCU now.
I know.
He's also 6'2".
Yeah. There's a guy who I thought would be really good a while back. Let me see if I can find him. He's again way
What
too.
about Robert Pattinson?
No,
Pattinson.
nope.
Why not?
He's Batman.
And
That's all he needs to be. He just needs to be Batman.
Daniel Radcliffe.
Uh,
He's 5'5". You know he has the range for it.
Daniel Radcliffe. Isn't that the guy who played Harry Potter?
Harry Potter, yes.
No.
He has the range for it. Have you seen him in anything else?
There's a movie that's supposed to be coming out. It's supposed to come out like a year ago, where he like gets kidnapped and gets guns like surgically implanted into his hands, and he has to try and convince people that he's not trying to kill them while he's wandering around with guns and can't put them down. Which seemed like a great way to kill 2 hours, or actually probably like an hour and 20 minutes because it's not that deep of a concept. But I wanted to see that. I did see him in Swiss Army Man, which was quirky and fun. Um, but yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'm not. Don't really see him pulling that off. Not without
Um,
some.
I think he could.
I would have said Aaron Tveit, but the more I'm looking at him right now, no. I used to think he'd make a good Wolverine, but not anymore. Uh, this is an old list.
So right now, I'm picturing Shia LaBeouf in the role.
I would not be against that. I kind of want to see Shia LaBeouf play him.
He's such a crack job now, though.
He always was.
That's fair.
Hmm.
Oh my goodness. Seth Rogen would be really good at the wisecracking side of Logan.
Oh, he's never gonna be Wolverine. Um,
You don't think he'd ever get into shape?
I mean, he's in shape right now. He's in shape.
Is he?
Yeah, like he's in good shape, but like that is not the issue. Um, I'm still waiting for. I would say Channing Tatum, but I still want him to play Gambit someday, maybe. Probably never gonna happen, but it'd be nice. Hmm. A lot of these are older lists because I know that a lot of these guys have crossed over into 40 by now.
Like who?
Oh, like the last two lists I've looked at have had Orlando Bloom on there, and he's in his 40s.
I
Um,
haven't seen Orlando Bloom.
this one shouldn't have him. Okay, so not Kit Harrington because he's too much of a pretty boy. Okay, just because he did get into the shape to do it a couple times. What about Zac Efron? He's short, and he
Thought
has
about it, but I zoomed right past
like
it.
there's a part of me that just says absolutely not, and then there's another part that's like, well, uh okay. Did anyone ever do the mock up? Because it's the internet, right? Someone has to have done this. Efron Wolverine. Hey, someone did do a mock up of this. Uh,
What about Frankie Muniz?
no.
I couldn't keep a straight face while saying that out loud.
I could tell. So, like, this isn't bad. I could see. It's
That is not. Wow, that is Zac Efron.
that is Zac Efron.
The face, is that his body too?
That's his body too. That's from when he was in Baywatch.
I could stare at this picture for a while.
Like, here's someone who just did a really bad photo job on it. Um, but like, yeah, this is just him in Baywatch.
Really? You think that's a bad photo of it?
Oh, and actually, so he got a little bit out of shape, and still, it's not like after this, like that's not maintainable. That's just not a maintainable body.
No,
But
no.
but even
He's
after,
definitely dehydrated in that picture.
but after he put on some weight again, like this is what he looked like, just kind of normally. Not well. What? That is not an explicit photo. What is wrong with you, Discord? um, here we go. Copy image address. See if this works. Right? Does that work? Nope.
It's a clickable link.
Yeah, but that's not. I actually want this to pop up in here. All right, I'll grab a different one. All right, try this one. Bam! There we go. Like that is an unaltered photo.
Yeah.
I could see that. And he already has a history of working with Disney.
Yeah.
And he was in a movie with Hugh Jackman, so we could probably pick up some of the mannerisms.
That's fair.
I want to be there for that screaming practice, for that roaring practice. Ah! Just these two guys in a room yelling at each other.
For the record, this is the other TikTok I sent you.
The other one?
Mm-hmm.
Which one is this one? Oh yeah. I already I saw that. Yeah, I don't really want to see Holly Hunnam as this. Or Jamie Dornan. God Eastwood's too much of a pretty boy. Yeah, I'm just not seeing really anyone else that I think who would do as good a job.
Yeah. That first picture you put up there sold me. So,
Like I said, he wouldn't even have to get into that good a shape. All he, like relaxing Zac Efron body there. That's better than mine's even going to be in here for the next couple of months. We'll see what happens after that at the Glass Factory. But I mean, if that is his downtime body, he's got no problems. Oh, that was something, and this is not a nice thing, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I may have gotten a little bit of hope today. So I'm at this wedding, and I had never met the groom, didn't know him, had heard nothing about him. I just found out like a week ago that that this girl who I taught Sunday school to was getting married. And as a teacher, you're not supposed to have favorites or anything, but like when there's kids who show up to everything and they do what they're supposed to and don't get themselves in all kinds of trouble and they get involved and they get active and do all the things that that kids are supposed to do in church, certain levels of favoritism just happen. I'm sorry. I'm going to be very honest about this. Just because you see them more. So it's like, yeah, this is a good one. So I'm like, okay, let's go see what's going on here with this fella. And I see him and I'm like, wow. She lowered her standards a lot there, didn't she? I mean, it's not that he's like a bad looking guy, but he does have kind of this
Hey, Gabby, there's your problem. It's not all about looks.
I know, but like that doesn't help me either.
Oh yeah, for your case, you're a lost cause.
Yeah, like although I did find this funny.
God may not have given you a spirit of singleness, but he definitely gave you the face and personality of one.
Let me find this meme I saw. It's pretty amazing. Since I find it. All right. Here we go.
Listen, I'm funny.
At least that's what I try and tell people. Yeah. So I guess what I'm trying to say is like if a guy who looks like that and like if a guy who looks like that yeah can make it I suppose there might still be hope. Not much hope, only a fool's hope, but there might still be hope. Although I say that after saying, the posting the one from the meme from last time. Wow, I can't speak tonight at all, can I? About, according to a study, women are actually happier with less attractive men. Got Hawkeye saying, "Don't do that. Don't give me hope."
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, Masters, we got anything else here?
I can't think of anything else.
Okay,
We had a good run.
we did. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed today's episode. I'm gonna really enjoy not being able to get it out until like Thursday.
I'm gonna enjoy Tuesday. So
Oh, Tuesday's gonna be so much fun. I still need to. I really want to do this Horton thing, but I can't figure out how to format it. Because if I
what
just
do you
put
mean?
so, like, I want to do a video, right?
Oh, right.
Yeah. So like, how do I do that? Because I mean, I could just point a camera at my face and just talk to the camera, but that's not really helpful. I could set something up where I'm just doing like B-roll footage of me sitting at my desk and looking like I'm writing and just loop it or something, and then just talk over it. Could do that. Um, if I do the static image thing that I typically do, which is the laziest and easiest option, I kind of not a big fan of that because someone out there did actually draw the picture of Horton that I'm using, and they may not be super thrilled with that if they should find it, which they probably wouldn't, but they still might be not be super thrilled with that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to figure out a format to do it in that would be conducive to doing it and not just be horrifically bad, which it's probably going to be anyway.
Yeah, let's not get our hopes up.
But if I can figure out the formatting issues, I still want to try it because I think it'd be fun. Being able to be like, dearest mother, your own little son Horton, and I'm writing you this letter to let you know about the many adventures that I've been on since I left home a few hours ago. I think that would be tremendously fun. Which probably says a lot about my warped sense of what is fun. Nevertheless, that's for another day, for another time. For now, let's say we wrap it up.
Sounds good.
Alrighty. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in, for listening, for watching, whatever it is that you're doing to connect with us here at the World's Worst Podcast. If you would be so kind as to leave a like and a comment and maybe subscribe to us if you haven't done that already. Please be sure to share this with your many friends, the folks who are out there in the far reaches of the internets. Make sure that their timeline is not necessarily blessed and, well, maybe not cursed, but I suppose that's really up for you to decide. Although I can certainly understand why you might think this would be a curse to your timeline, or their timeline.
What voice are you trying to do?
I don't really know, I'm just kind of running with it. Any other questions?
So many.
Okay. We can ask those later. Yeah, if you guys would be so kind as to do all that fun stuff like that there, make sure you get the word out so that we can properly get more things happening. Get maybe some more viewers before we reach our very fastly approaching 52nd episode or whatever it is. Yeah, I think this is episode 50. Holy crap. We got 2 more episodes and we can say we've done this a full year's worth of episodes. Awesome. What have we done to the internet?
Absolutely nothing except for Sasquatch's point of view.
Exactly. So yeah, we will talk to you folks later, and it's been fun. We'll see you all next time. Goodbye.